Welcome to another Phys Ed and Minor Games video. The game I'm going to be looking at today is called Indoor Speedball. Now, the equipment you're going to need for Indoor Speedball is obviously one soccer ball, and you'll also need one set of colour bands just so the players can decipher who's on their team. Now, for those who have played Speedball before, it's basically a cross between soccer and Australian rules football. It tends to work best outside where you've got plenty of room, but if you don't have that luxury, whether it be wet weather or you're in the gym for that day, it can be modified and therefore you can actually play it indoors. Now you are going to have to make some modifications to make it work inside. Now if you're in a situation where you've got a double court gym or a triple court gym where you've got 2 or 3 basketball courts inside your gymnasium, you probably won't have to worry about this modification, but as you can see here, when you've got a single court, the court does get fairly crowded, especially where you can see there's the no-go zone inside that D, so that's probably the D that you'd see on a netball court. Now because it's this crowded, the game's not going to work very well, so what you'll need to do is actually implement what's called sideline players. So if you haven't used sideline players before, the general gist is you're going to assign a certain number of players to become sideline players, so they'll head over to the sideline, and basically they're not allowed to be defended, so when the ball goes to them they don't have to worry about a defender trying to take it off them. But they're stationary, they can't move, they have to basically stay where they are. As you can see, we've got the goals down either end, so you'll use 2 cones at each end to designate the goals, and my suggestion is the wider the better, more goals is a good thing, and you can place them fairly close to the wall because the players wouldn't be going anywhere near those ones. Okay, so the way the game works is, as we said, it's a mix between soccer and Australian rules football. You'll see here that one team will take the kick off from the centre. Now the ball's on the ground, so that's known as a ground ball, so it can only be played with soccer rules. So you'll see here, this player kicks it to his teammate, and you'll notice the defender actually has to stay off this player. So because it's indoors, we're not going to allow players to steal, because for today this focus is going to be looking at kicking and passing skills, so we want them to be able to do it without too much pressure. Now this player's decided to use one of his sideline players, so he's kicked it to him, and as you can see, no one can defend this player. And now they've got the ball on the ground, so it's a ground ball, but this player's decided he's now going to chip it to his teammate so he or she can actually mark it on the full. So he's chipped it up, and this player's actually taken a mark or caught the ball. Okay, so now this is going to be known as a handball or an air ball, it's up to you. So he can kick it like an Australian rules football. So you can see here, he's kicked it across the field to his teammate, this player's taken a mark as well. He's tried to do the same to a player down the wing, but the ball's actually bounced, so the ball's now on the ground, so it's again a ground ball, so he has to play it like a soccer ball, crosses the ball over, and his teammate scores a goal. So that would be 1-0 to that team. After a goal's been scored, you want a nice quick changeover, so you can see here that the red team, they head in, take possession inside the D, and they'll then start from that area. Now there's a few things you need to take into account. Obviously you want to be rotating your players as much as possible on the sidelines. You want them to feel like they're part of the game. You'd need to, every now and then, it might only be every minute or every couple of minutes, you'd blow the whistle and you'd say, okay, let's swap our sideline players. You see here about half are on the court, half on the sideline, so you can just simply cross them over. For sideline players to work successfully, you need to make sure that they do feel like they're part of the game. So what I tend to do is use a few modifications where it might be before a team's able to have a shot at goal, they have to have passed it to 1 or 2 or 3 of their sideline players. You'll see here that I'd actually have a goal in this game. If you decided, no, we want to have a goalie, you can do so. My suggestion is I'd leave it out due to the fact that if you don't have a goalie, it's easier to score, and big scores tend to be more interesting for the students. Now with the rule where you're not allowed to have defenders going in and stealing the ball, you do have to have a few rules to make sure that works properly, because it will become fairly stagnant otherwise. So you do have to have a time limit, so you'd probably give them 2 or 3 seconds tops depending on their ability level. You really have to highlight to the defenders the only way they can actually get possession of the ball is to use good defence, man up, make sure there's no free players, and then see if they can't try to intercept a pass from one of their opponents. And that, in a nutshell, is how you play indoor speedball. For more information or minor game resources, head to physed.com.au or subscribe to the Phys Ed YouTube channel. Thank you.